Hey everyone. Pretty much everyone out there knows someone that's been affected by cancer. And I want to share my story because I've never actually posted anything on any of my social medias or really spoken about it. Only people that knew were the people that were close to me and the ones that would deal with me in a day-to-day setting like work or hobbies and stuff like that. My name's Garth. And in 2023, I was diagnosed with what was then stage 2 adenoid cystic carcinoma. Now, the reason I want to make this video is just to share my story. I intend to record it over maybe 4 different segments because the amount of information to my journey is quite extensive, and I'd like to cover it in a fair bit of detail. When I was 22, back in 2016, I had found a lump in my neck. It's a small little thing, it felt like a growth. And, back then, I was young, and ignorant of a lot of things in the world. And I'm actually amazed that I went to the doctor in the first place, to be honest. Normally, I would have just left something like that because, it wasn't bothering me, didn't cause me any pain. It can't possibly be anything bad, only 22 years old. But for some reason, I actually went to the doctor and I had it checked out. And the doctor wasn't too concerned, to be honest. He'd said that it was in a very sensitive position and a surgery to remove it would have a lot of risks that he didn't think needed to be taken in that situation. So he told me to keep monitoring it, and if it started to bother me, I must just go back and we'll look at it again. About a year later, 2017, it's doubled in size, pretty much, and it was so big that it was pressing against different nerves and whatnot, and it caused me quite a bit of pain. So I went back to the doctor and I said, "Yo, remember this? It's now, it's now much bigger. What should I do?" And now he took me seriously. He was a bit concerned this time, and he said, "Okay, that's got to come out. We can't have that there." So he set up for me to go meet a surgeon. He knew that the surgeon was going to send me for an ultrasound, so this time he was a little proactive, and he'd sent me for one prior to my meeting with the surgeon so that I would already have the data. When I got to the hospital and I had the ultrasound done, they pretty much told me right then and there that it was a tumor. Um, it was a bit terrifying because it comes out of nowhere, these diagnoses. You're living your day-to-day life, everything's normal, and just like that, you have this big obstacle in front of you, but they said, you're still quite young. Chances that it's not cancerous, or chances that it is cancerous, is extremely low, and you shouldn't worry too much about it. So I was like, okay, yeah, only 2023. This was in May 2017. Anyway, went to go see the surgeon, had a MRI, had an MRI done, and then they did the surgery and they removed it. It all happened relatively quickly, literally in the space of about 10 days. I'd seen the doctor, gone for the ultrasound, met the surgeon, gone for the MRI, had my pre-surgery evaluation, had the surgery, and got out of hospital in about 10 days. It was all incredibly quick. So one of the risks of that surgery was this particular type of cancer. It starts in the neck around your salivary glands. Mine had grown around the facial nerves on the right side of my face. So the risk at that stage was that the surgery could permanently damage me. As you can see, I am disfigured. But it didn't happen now. This only happened much later, which I'd get to in another recording. Thankfully, from this one, no permanent damage was done. I just got a good proper scare. Um, so I was at home recovering, and then the results came through that it was cancerous, and it was quite a shock to the system. Came out of nowhere, especially for the young age that I was. It shocked the hell out of me. It shocked my parents, all my friends. And if you're someone in my position, I'd like to give you a few pointers. Firstly, people don't know what to say. There isn't a right thing to say to someone when they come up to you and they say, "Oh, I've just been diagnosed with cancer." What do you say to that person, right? There's no rights. There's no right thing to say. Everyone's always going to seem a little uneasy. They might stumble over their words, and more often than not, the only thing you're going to get is, like, "I'm really sorry." And that's completely fine, because it's human, and that's just how people don't know how to respond to such news. The other thing you're going to find out if you're in my position and you're telling your loved ones that you have cancer is all of a sudden all your friends and family are now doctors, and everyone has an opinion. I'm telling you, everyone has an opinion on what you should do. See the doctor, go for chemo, don't go for chemo, smoke weed, do this, do that, do this herbal treatment, do that right therapy. Everyone has got an opinion, and it is overwhelming. It is incredibly overwhelming for someone in the position. So, my recommendation, and I guess I'm doing it now as well, but just listen to your doctor. Oncologists get a lot of bad reputation. Um, People say that, oh, yeah, oncologists, they're only in it for the money, the chemo will kill you, they don't care. I have never ever had that thought about my doctor. My oncologist is one of the most amazing people I've ever met, who right from the beginning can tell this guy genuinely cares about me. I go to Mountain View Oncology in one city here in Cape Town, and I see Dr. Sawa, who has kept me alive these past 6 years, and I'm so thankful that he's been by my side through this whole journey. And I had chose to listen to my doctor in every step, and I'm still here. So I think that's pretty cool. The other tip I want to give is Googling things isn't always the best idea. we we had still makes me laugh. I can laugh about it now. We had a situation after we met with my surgeon, and I was sitting in his office with my mother, and the doctor told us what type of cancer it is. Now, my cancer is called adenoid cystic carcinoma, and its traits and qualities, firstly, is it's incredibly slow growing, but it's incredibly persistent. And that is why I've been going over this for so long. It's why I've had 4 recurrences. I've had 6 major operations. I've had chemotherapy twice. I've had a whole stent of radiation. I've had about maybe 20 MRIs, half as many CAT scans. I've been through the ringer, really. For someone my age, not many people's medical record matches mine. But my mother didn't hear adenoid cystic carcinoma. She heard something else. Now, I don't know if this is her fault or the doctor's fault, because in her defense, I don't know how she would accidentally get a scientific name incorrect and still get a successful search on Google. But when we'd gone home and she'd Googled my cancer, it was something else, completely different. It was some like harsh, mega killing cancer, and we all thought that I was a gunner. We're like, oh, I guess, I guess, I guess I'm gonna die now. Literally for about a week from seeing the surgeon to meeting the oncologist who cleared everything up. For a week, we thought that I was gone. I had like a couple of weeks left at most. That was pretty terrible. So Googling is bad. don't Google unless you know what you're Googling, and talk to your doctors first because there's a lot of scary information on the internet. Uh, and you don't really want to stress yourself out, especially when you're already in such a stressful situation. So after the surgery, they basically test what they've taken out, and if the cancer is completely within the piece of flesh that they've removed, then they know that they've gotten all of it. If the cancer cells touch the edge of what they've removed, then they know that it's still there, maybe even on a microscopic level. In my case, it was still there. So this is when I went for my first set of radiation. I went every day, 5 days a week, for 7 weeks, Monday to Friday for 7 weeks. Along with that, I had chemo, where I had one dose every week for 6 weeks, and this was a rough period. I must say, it was incredibly difficult. I didn't lose my hair or anything. That chemo was at a relatively low dosage. It was mainly just to help the radiation work, but it wasn't fun because I got it every week. The second time I had chemo, I was getting it every 3 weeks at a much higher dosage. But just the lower dosage every week consistently, it's much. I went from 70 kilograms to 55 kilos. I lost an incredible amount of weight. Depression, yes. Talk about it with who you feel comfortable. It always helps. Don't be afraid ever to reach out and ask for help, because there's so much people around you that are willing to help. There are, in the same breath, don't under don't undervalue other people's care for you. Even though you're the one going through it and it's your life on the line, I'd like to urge people to really be mindful about how it might impact your loved ones. And I took that for granted a lot. I never really respected how much it might affect my mother or my father or my close friends, all these people that were genuinely concerned about me. I was so self-absorbed in myself and my own feelings around it. I became very desensitized to the feelings of other people towards my health. And that's something I've had to learn going forward. And I still mess up a bit because it's a very emotionally taxing thing to go through. Yeah, crazy. So after the radiation and the chemo, I basically kept going for regular checkups at regular intervals. They started me off at 3 months. Then when I was clear for a bit, they moved me to half a year. And then if that kept going well, they were going to move me to 1 year checkups. Unfortunately, I didn't get to the 1 year checkup mark before I had a reoccurrence in my lungs where the cancer then moved to stage 4. But that I will cover at a different stage. One thing that I walked away from this experience from when I was 23 was I had a completely new outlook on life. You tend to get those when something tries to kill you. So, surprise, surprise. I lived my life like a gremlin before then. I went to work, I came home, I played video games the early hours in the morning. I didn't see much of my friends because I had online friends. That's all you need, or so I thought. Um, I was doing well in my career. I was going places. I was developing skills. I was advancing in the company I worked for. But when I got home, my social life non-existent. Honestly, it wasn't there. I was already semi-depressed before all this happened. Afterwards, you feel like a changed person, and if you're in the middle of this process, if you're still going through treatment, if you're still waiting for that diagnosis that says you're now clean, if you're still in that stage, then my heart and thoughts are with you because I've been there. You know, a lot of people can say, I'm sorry. There's not as many people can say, I know what you're going through. I've been there and it gets better. Um, Not always the case, but when it does, and I really truly wish that upon anyone out there that is going through this, you walk away with such a great feeling. You start doing things again. I started going outside. I started going for walks, hikes. Reconnected with a lot of friends that I hadn't seen for many years, and I'm still seeing them till this day. You really, you really take life by the horns. The following year in 2018, I went overseas for the first time. As a South African, going overseas is a bit of a luxury. It's quite expensive, and you got to deal with visas and all of that. I went to the UK and I went to Budapest in Hungary. And funnily enough, I went to go visit all my online friends that I'd spent so much time with. I think I met up with about four of them before I was done and I got back home. And I had a really great time. So, my advice to anyone recovering from this is really live life like, it's such a cliche thing to say, like you could die, live life like you could die any day, but it holds so much weight and power. So yeah, that's it. Um, Maybe I plan to make more videos. Maybe I don't. Maybe I get lazy. Maybe this is the only one. I hope I haven't forgotten anything, but if I have, I'll add it to the next video, if it is one. But yeah, until then, keep safe, everyone. And that's the first part of my story.